Hello everybody, Kyle here. I'm going to review the 6th episode of House of the Dragon. I don't know what the episode is called. They never really tell you right away on HBO or even on the app. But I will say that I thought this episode was fantastic. Just another great episode in a long line of great episodes of TV. I think that what's remarkable about this show is that they take these time jumps, and this was like the big episode for the series, because for this episode to work, the viewers had to be engaged and buy into this massive 10-year time jump that required them to cast another actor to play Rhaenyra and another actor to play Alicent. And the ones they got were fabulous and just revelations, especially Olivia Cooke. Emma Darcy was great too, and there was a great scene with Emma giving birth at the start of the episode. But I really think that this episode really gave Alicent a lot to do in terms of her fears of Rhaenyra taking her throne, or her kids' rights to be rulers. And it's very interesting, because it's like with Alicent there has been this massive 10-year time jump, and from what you can tell based on what is inferred, there's probably a lot of stuff that happened between them. They did not make it up. In between the 10 years of the last episode and this episode, it wasn't like I believe it was episode 4 of the series, when Alicent and Rhaenyra, after being apart a little bit, they sat next to each other, and Alicent held Rhaenyra's hand, and it was like they were starting to mend their friendship again. And after what Larys told Alicent in episode 5 about the tea, the literal tea, Alicent has no longer felt the need to trust Rhaenyra. And now we have this time jump where they have grown even farther apart. They live under the same roof in the Red Keep, but it's to the point where that they cannot even stand each other in the same room. And it is really sad to see. And it's also sad to see the king, who he thinks that they could possibly mend this relationship. He sees how badly they are fractured, but there's this one great scene where Rhaenyra proposes to unite their houses, but Alicent, she doesn't want any of it, and the king is like, a judicious proposal, whatever he says. And you just see the king is dying, and he is going to die, and when he dies, there is going to be no one in that castle that supports Rhaenyra. And it's so tragic and heartbreaking. But I think that this episode really gave us a sense of fear for even both of the characters, and desperation for Alicent. And when she goes to Larys, she doesn't mean for him to straight up kill his brother and father, but he does. And she's like, this is not what I wished for, this isn't what I asked for, but he's like, this is how the game is played. And now it is so fascinating. And then we get the element of the kids, and I think it was a really smart move for them to feature these kids in this first season, because I get this interesting generational feel watching this season, because as the showrunners were talking about, the show isn't just about Rhaenyra and Alicent. It's about the House of the Dragon. It's about the Dance of Dragons. And in order for you to have this Dance of Dragons, you need to have all of these dragons in like the same season. And in the case of this show, we get to see not just, you know, Alicent's children and Rhaenyra's children, but we also see some of Daemon's children. And the world building is just so intricate and interesting. And oh man, like the whole conflict between the families, and how like you see Aegon as this conceited, kind of mean-spirited kid who thinks that he has everything, but Alicent, in this wonderful scene, Olivia Cooke acts beautifully. She like grabs him by the face and says, "You need to understand where we're at right now. This is a dangerous position for both of us, and Rhaenyra can take our, hold from this realm," like that. And it's just so good. I've seen some people criticize this episode, saying that they thought the time jump doesn't work and that there's a lot of things that they weren't answering from other episodes, but I disagree. Like, I think that this time jump really did work. All the things that we need to know have been revealed to us, and anything that wasn't shown to us, we can infer. And I think that is great writing, because it doesn't treat the audience like they're dumb, and it doesn't make it where you have to wait 8 weeks to get to something interesting. One could argue, they could tell a fascinating story for, one season. I'm sure they could, but this is the thing, that this is the story they wanted to tell. They wanted to tell this generational storyline, and by telling this generational storyline, they had to put all the players in season 1. I have a feeling that we will see flashbacks and the younger actors reappear again in the following seasons. I don't think that they are going to be gone. I think that part of that is they probably planned on maybe focusing on the past, but I think they're going to see the feedback and how much people did love those younger actors, and they will bring them back. But right now, Emma and Olivia are doing an incredible job. They really do, especially Olivia really feels like Alicent, Emily Carey's portrayal from the earlier episodes. She even stands and poses like her. And what's interesting about Emma is I didn't feel the same like I did with Olivia, where I was like, oh wow, like this is Millie Alcock, just 10 years older. But in the book, it is mentioned how Rhaenyra's appearance does change as she gives birth to her children. So I can understand why they cast Emma, and Emma does have similar mannerisms as Millie. So you can still somewhat see that this is the same person, but they have changed. And I think that was really interesting. A lot of people have criticized, this is a jump from Rhaenyra in the first half of the season. I'm like, yes, it's 10 years. It's someone that was a teenage girl who's now become a full-grown woman that has had 3 kids. That's going to change. Alicent has kind of been stuck in the same position she's been in since the first episode, where she's kind of been being played by the people in the court, and she's also made to give the king heirs really early in her youth, and she is kind of stuck as that girl that kind of aged and matured before even Rhaenyra did. And I think that might be one of the reasons why people are so kind of unsure about the way Rhaenyra is acting compared to Alicent. But I think that it makes sense why they're acting like this. Also, Daemon's storyline was very interesting. I was a little unsure about Daemon's storyline because I just read the book, and the book talks about it, but there's something that happens in this episode. Well, I will say it because most likely you've watched it if you watch this video, but when Lena dies by the dragon, it is not revealed like that in the book. Like, it is a very different type of death. And I think it works because even if you read the book, I do love this the way the show is playing around with this. It's like the book is being told by unreliable sources, and some of it's true, some of it isn't, and I see the show as like the real truth, and I love that. Like, it really makes both reading the book and watching the show and then reading the book again such a fun experience, because you can't say like, oh, well, it didn't happen in the book like this. No, well, who says if it actually happened the way it happened in the book? Yeah, like, I thought this episode was great, and this is the best show on TV. There's nothing else that competes against it. But let me know what you think. Did you like this episode? Are you excited for next week? Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Take care, guys. Bye.